Welcome to another Hog Out, well, Hog Live, actually. It's great to be here. Plenty of cricket happening over the next couple of days. But today, Pakistan are taking on England on a used pitch. We've probably never seen that before in the history of the game. Well, may have been done every now and then in certain circumstances where it's of absolute need. And then tomorrow, we've got New Zealand travelling to India and taking on India in a test series there as well. Really looking forward to that. Plenty to talk about. We can also talk about the T20 between India and Bangladesh. And Anupam, great to see you. Atal Baral, great to see you. And everyone else that's just joining now. Let's have a chat after the break. I've got to say I'm a little excited. I've got the cricket going on the right here because the first ball of the test match between Pakistan and England is about to be bowled. It's Potts who's come in and replaced Atkinson. I love the way that England have just rotated their quick bowlers, give them a little bit of a rest in this short turnaround between the first two test matches. That's why it's very important to look after your quick bowlers and make sure that you do rotate them and watch their workloads. Because if you look at Pakistan, they've got a mountain of injuries with their fast bowlers. And we'll talk about that as we move forward. But our talking points today, is it first up Pakistan, England that we're going to talk about? Okay, what's our first talking point, please? The test match here? Yes, the first test match. Let's talk about Harry Brook. I know a lot of fans out there are Indian fans as well, love Australia, but we've also got to have a little bit of love for England as well. Harry Brook, 317 off 322 balls. What a partnership he had with Joe Root. It was unbelievable. I just loved the way that he paced it. It was tough conditions over there. It was hot. It was draining. You had to keep the fluids going into your body. And he just showed so much resilience. Now, I had a few question marks over Harry Brook with the way that he goes about it with that aggressiveness, but he just showed that he's got different gears to his game here. He can play that conservative role. When it's tough, he can get through those tough periods. And when you need to put the foot on the gas and put the pressure on the opposition and put yourself in a position where you can win the game for your team, you do it. 317 off 322 balls. That is one of the best innings I've seen in Test cricket over the last couple of years. Well done to Harry Brook. And his counterpart there, Joe Root. Let's have a look at Joe Root. Look, he's making a mountain runs. He's pushing his way up the ladder of Test batsmen, leading run scorers over his career. And he was really struggling with cramp throughout this innings, but just the way he complimented Harry Brook, the way that he helped Harry Brook get through those early stages, those tough stages, and really build a formidable partnership. And knowing that if they were going to win this test match, they couldn't just be around the 500 mark that Pakistan had made. They had to be at least 200, 250 in front to give their bowlers a chance of bowling Pakistan out in the second innings. So well done to Joe Root, Harry Brooks, setting the test match up for England to win there, knowing that Pakistan weren't going to be that flash when they chased the score in the second innings, because they've been proving that over the last couple of years, and they really worked on that weakness. So well done to England. Let's have a quick chat about Pakistan for the Pakistan fans out there. I'm just going to have a quick look as Potts is bowling. He's around the wicket, and gee, that looks as though it's staying low. It's not good for the future of this test match. So fast bowlers are going to have a tough time of it here live in Multan, Pakistan. But dropping Babar Azam, this is a big call. And I think it's warranted because he hasn't been in the best of form over the last year or two. He's not playing at his best, and they do need to make changes. They haven't won that many test matches over the last 10 tests. I don't think they've won a test match in the last 10 or 11 test matches. That's not good enough, especially when you're playing on your home ground. Nazim Shah, fast bowler there, and the big left arm quick there as well. Shaheen Afridi, just not living up to the expectations that that are expected from Pakistan. Shaheen is covering a little bit of a niggle at the moment, so they're really pushing him right to the limit. But Nazim Shah, I think they've been pretty tough on him. I thought he bowled quite well in this test match. He was just unlucky. He beat the outside edge a number of times. He bowled with sheer pace. Out of all the Pakistan bowlers, he was probably the better one of the lot. But dropping Babar Azam is the big news. It needed to happen. And if we got the next talking point up there, please, AK, because I think it's between Babar Azam and Virat Kohli. I made a tweet the other day. How can you compare dropping Babar Azam when he's out of form and Virat Kohli when he's out of form? Basically, my tweet was stating that India was still winning test matches while Virat Kohli was out of form. You need to continue your best batsman in the team as long as the actual team is winning. Whereas on the Pakistan front, the team isn't winning. They're not gelling. There's some cultural issues there. There's politics interfering as well, and they really do need to make changes. And there was one fact that I just saw in the news today, that they're resting him because of too much cricket coming up around the corner. You're playing a big series against England. You have only played 4 test matches this year. It's only been 10 and a half months of the calendar year. You've played no one-day internationals. You've played 19 T20 crickets, Pakistan T20 games. Pakistan have hardly played any cricket, and they want to give Babar Azam a rest. I don't think that is the appropriate statement. He has been dropped. Okay, let's move on to the next talking point, please, AK. Got to get through these so everyone can ask a quick question or two. Pakistan, England, following the loss in the first innings, Shan Masood came out and criticised the bowling performance. You can't criticise the bowlers. It was a flat pancake of a wicket. It was difficult to bowl on. If you're going to criticise anyone, criticise the batters, because England made 800 runs. They battered Pakistan out of the test match. That's what Pakistan should have done in the first innings. They made 500. They were batting when the pitch was out its best, and they didn't do as well with the bat as England did. And when you look at their second innings, it was abysmal. 6 for 82. I think they lost early on, and they just threw their wickets away. They had no resilience. They did not show that they had any fitness whatsoever. They capitulated. And for me, on a talking point like that, if you're going to criticise one particular phase of your team or the bowlers, you're affecting the culture. You've already got a bad culture. So if you just pick on one section of your team, the bowlers, what's going to make them a little bit uncertain of where they sit in the team. It's going to make them their confidence drop for the next game. So Shah Masood's just got to just zip the lip a little bit and just concentrate on saying a little bit more positive, use a few more positive words when he's critiquing his players on the TV. When he's getting interviewed. So that's one thing that Shah Masood's got to work on. So next talking point, please. AK's behind the scenes. We've got India, Bangladesh. There was no way that Bangladesh were going to win this T20 series. India are coming out. They're playing aggressive brand of T20 cricket. They want to take the game on. They are starting to raise the bar ahead of other teams around the globe. Yes, they didn't win the T20 World Cup, but they've moved forward and they're looking out to try and change the brand of cricket under Gambia and Suryakumar Yadav moving forward, and it is looking brilliant. It is looking fantastic. Bangladesh in T20 cricket are no easy beats, and India just blew them apart. Let's have a few talking points of the last game that was played between these two. I want to have a quick chat about Sanju Samson. Sanju Samson sitting in the wings. I just love the way that he sets up and plans his innings. 111 off 47 balls. He keeps it nice and simple. He moves around the crease, but when he moves in the crease, he moves quickly before the bowler delivers the ball, and he gets in a standing position and is able to either hit the ball through the covers if the bowler still bowls wide, or if he follows him, he's able to hit through the onside. And if you look at the early part of the innings when he was facing Tuscan, he backed away twice. Tuscan attacked the stumps for those two balls instead of following Sanju Samson. Then the third ball, Sanju Samson stayed in his batting position. He didn't move around. Tuscan then attacked the leg stump, thinking he was going to back away, trying to follow him. And Sanju Samson was able to easily hit it through a vacant gap in the wicket and get another boundary. Just the smarts of Sanju Samson. So when you're moving around the crease, you want to take the bowler on, make sure you get in a still position where your head's still and you can get in a power position to be able to time the ball, youngsters out there. Well done, Sanju Samson. And then we're going to have a quick chat about Suryakumar Yadav. I think Suryakumar Yadav is probably the best batter in T20 cricket. He can play the ramp shots, the reverse ramp shots, but he can also power down the ground and just flick off his body as well as play over that point region as well. He's able to hit sixes in all parts of the ground, and he just sets himself up so beautifully. And that's why I think Mumbai Indians will have to look out keeping him as their number one player rather than Rohit Sharma and Hardik Pandya, because he just blows opposition teams away. But the other thing I love about him is his captaincy. He's really shown that he's a true leader. Now, I'm going to go back to when I played with him at Kolkata Knight Riders. I just thought he was more of a follower there. I didn't see the leadership side of it there. But when I went and did a bit of coaching at Mumbai Indians, there was a slight change. You could see that he felt part of the team. You can see that he was starting to think he was a leader. He was one of the experienced players in the team. He was taking youngsters under the wing. And there's one comment that I really loved. He's taken ownership of this leadership role. He says, I want selfless cricketers in my team. That's great, because if you're playing T20 cricket, you want players that are willing to sacrifice their own performance for the betterment of the team when they've got to be a little bit more aggressive with the bat, or when they've got to be a little bit more aggressive with the ball, trying to search for those wickets to try and turn the game away around. So well done to Suryakumar Yadav. Rightio, we've got some quick talking points now moving forward. Okay, can you flick that over? Oh, we've got Hardik Pandya as well. Another Mumbai Indian. I just love the way that he's accepted Suryakumar Yadav as the captain of this Indian team, but it's also helped his game as well. He's really starting to expand with the bat as well, show his true form. He struggled a little bit through last year's IPL. And we all know why, because there was a lot of pressure on him moving from Gujarat back to the Mumbai Indians, but he's just showing his true class here. And if you're going to be a dominant team in T20 international cricket, you've got to have your medium pace all-rounders, and that's what Hardik brings. Even though he's a little bit more expensive than your conventional bowler or your bowler whose main craft is just bowling, not the all-rounder, he still adds depth to your batting. So you've added depth to your batting. With that, you can play a few more all-rounders because you know that you're going to make it up without pressure being able to bat deep. So that's why I think Hardik Pandya is vital for the depth of the Indian T20 team, because you've got so many spinners that are all-rounders as well, which really adds depth to that batting lineup. So well done to India in that regard. Okay, we'll have a quick chat about the Test series between India and New Zealand. Can we just get the Indian squad up here, please? I think the Indian squad is just going to be too quick. Too good for New Zealand. I don't think they'll make any changes to their 11 to what they had against Bangladesh. I think in the first Test match, they'll play maybe 3 spinners. It's on a black soil pitch. And I think they'll go with Siraj and Boomer at first up to really put pressure on that New Zealand lineup. And then the next Test match, they'll rest either Suraj or Boomerang and bring in Akash Deep. I really like the balance of this this lineup, and the way New Zealand played in Sri Lanka. I don't think they were able to turn things around and really fix their deficiencies batting against spin, and that's where India are going to take Test series away easily. But let's look at New Zealand. There are two players in this New Zealand lineup that I really want you to watch, and that's William O'Rourke. He's a fast bowler. He just comes in, ball after ball, trying to bowl with sheer pace. He's got a big heart, and he doesn't give in. So watch out for William O'Rourke. And Ben Sears, I hope he gets a go because he's a tall, quick bowler. And I just think he could add a little bit of variety against India just with his extra height, hopefully getting a little bit of an extra bounce there. So those two are the ones that I want you to look at. But I'm just looking at their spin depth. I might use Bracewell, Ravindra around Santner. They've got Chapman there as well. I just don't think their spinners are going to be up to it on England conditions. And they're also using Glenn Phillips there as well, who's not really a frontline spinner. So I just don't think New Zealand have got the best balanced team that they've probably got or had from previous years taking on India on their home soil. And after this Test series, I think India are going to find themselves in a position where they're comfortable on the championship ladder or the World Test Championship ladder. And they will be in the final by the end of this series. Okay, let's get into the questions. Can we get the first question up? And while we're getting the first question up, I'll just have a quick look at cast bowling. And again, the ball's just not getting up off a good length there. Anupam, how do you see Pakistan's approach dropping big players in Babar, Shaheen, Nazim, Shah? How does this, or how will this benefit their team? And those three in particular in the middle of the series. Look, they've changed the pitch as well. I think they're thinking, right, our pace is not up to it. We've got a lot of injuries in our pace stocks. I think they've got 7 injuries. If you look at Shaheen as well, I think he's got a little bit of a niggle. Nazim Shah, he just bowled the house down in the last Test match. I don't think you can have him playing their second Test match. I think he's more rested than they've been dropped. So for me, I think they've thought, right, we haven't got depth there. We've got to change the wicket here, and we've got to go to our strength in our spin. And we're hoping that this wicket turns on the late second day and third day, and they're able to put England under pressure after batting for a day and a half. Hopefully that goes Pakistan's way. If it doesn't, they've made a big blunder in trying to use a recycled pitch and going with 3 spinners and 1 quick in this Test match. But dropping Babar Azam, I think it's appropriate. They haven't been winning Test matches. They've been struggling. Their culture is not where it is. They're making too many changes off the field as well in their administration. They've got too many selectors. And for me, I think it's a big statement saying, yes, he's our number 1 batsman that we've got. He's probably the biggest brand that we've got in our cricket. But if you're not performing, you're going to get dropped. And it's a huge statement. And I think it's a good statement for Pakistan cricket to say, youngsters, you want to play in this team. It doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter what your reputation is. You have to perform and you have to put the team first. So as much as I love Babar Azam, I think it is a good move for the future of Pakistan cricket right now to give them a big kick up the backside. That's good point there, Anupam. I like it. Like that question. Next question, please, AK. Oh, Anupam again. What do you make of India's transition from specialist players to more all-rounders? I think when you're going to T20 cricket, I think that's a great move. I think if you can have 2 quick bowlers up front, this is what. So I'll just take a step back. You want to play as many all-rounders as you possibly can in your T20 side, but you've got to have specialist bowlers that can bowl up front with the new ball and in the death overs as well. You want your part-timers to be utilised through those middle overs with a frontline spinner, but utilising change of pace if it's a spinner, just getting the ball in good areas and just trying to stem the run flow there. So you've got 3 frontline bowlers, a spinner and 2 quicks, that are basically making all the breakthroughs. And then you've got 3, maybe 4 part-timers that can bat a bit, that are there to just try and stem the run flow rather than take wickets. So for me, I think it's a good move from India. I think it's a good move moving forward for the next T20 World Cup, because you've got to prepare for that T20 World Cup. And in that preparation, you've got to play the brand of cricket that you want. And that's what India did against Bangladesh. Now, I'm just talking about that as well. You've got the impact player in the IPL. But in the local T20 competition in India that's been played in India starting up soon, they're not going to have that impact player. They're taking it away. And I think they should take the impact player away in the IPL as well, because you don't have it in that T20 international. So you want to make sure that your stars are playing under the pressure that they're going to play in when they play in that T20 World Cup coming up. Also, if you don't have that impact player, all of a sudden your all-rounders are going to get more overs under their belt, bowling in tougher positions or tougher scenarios in those IPL fixtures. So you want to make sure that you've got the rules set up in your IPL competition that are benefiting your players and preparing your players for the T20 World Cup. Good question there, Anupam. And I took it a fair way away from just the specialist players. Okay, we've got another question there, AK. Tabia in charge. How are you going? Hi, Hoggy. Ayush Shakar here. Tell me one thing. What do the Australian team, be it men's or women's, do that other teams cannot do, especially in ICC events? Like, I think the Indian team right now, looking at some comments that have been made from Suryakumar Yadav, Gambia, Tenduscar, the coach as well. They're trying to have a great culture on the field, but also off the field. And you can see the closeness of the Indian players right now. And that has been the mould of Australian cricket, especially over the last couple of decades. You want that closeness both on and off the field. When you're away from the game, you're still communicating with each other. You're still interested in each other's lives. And you're virtually best of mates. So you create that closeness within the team. And you're playing against New Zealand as well, and New Zealand are very good at that as well. And that's why New Zealand play well above their weight. If you look at their team list compared to other teams, is because they've created that culture. They've got a tight-knit group. That's all it is. And I think it's not worrying about your position in the team. It's worrying about what you can do for the team. And I think that's what is starting to happen with the youngsters in the Indian lineup that are coming through the system. They're putting team first rather than their own performances. Don't get me wrong, as an athlete, as a sportsman, there has to be a little bit of selfishness there. But that selfishness is making sure that you are prepared to perform the best of your ability when you get out in the middle. That's preparing physically, technically, tactically, and mentally. And when you get out and perform, you have to have trained to play to the different situations that your team might need of you in those particular situations. So that's the difference between Australia and other teams, is that their players are better prepared to perform in different situations moving forward, but still putting the team first. That is a very, very good question, and I love it. Love it. It's the same with your work, actually, as well, workplace and your local cricket team. There's no difference in your approach. Put the team first. I did hear. How are you, mates? Is Ravichandran Ashwin having captain mentally and mindset? Look, I think Ashwin is a really good thinker of the game. He's a hard worker of the game. He knows exactly what he has to do. And I think it makes it easier on the captain having a player like that, because he knows what fields he wants when he's bowling. He's got a plan for each particular batsman, and if that plan's not working, he's able to adapt on his feet, think clearly, think quickly, and change his game plan straight away to what the batsman's doing. So he's very, very smart out in the middle. He's a great operator. So if I'm a captain of Ashwin, I'd basically be giving free rein. The only time I'd go and talk to him about his bowling is just to say, look, I'm seeing this. Are you seeing that? Or if I was batting, this is what I was finding tougher with the other spinners. What do you think about that adding to your game plan today? Other than that, I'd just leave him be. When it comes to his batting, he changes it around a bit, where he just tries to have a clear mind and just tries to see the ball and play the shot that needs to be played. So for me, I think he, on an all-round perspective, he's probably got one of the best mental games that you could probably have out international cricket. And I've said it a couple of times before. If you want to look up as a young spinner, if you want to look up to someone and see the way to approach your game, Ashwin is one of those bowlers that you should look at. Just the way that he works over the batsman with strategy and but still staying in control. He's not getting overexcited with the strategy. He's not trying to do too much outside of his capabilities. He's keeping it as simple as he can, but he's keeping all the percentages in his favour when he's trying to execute a plan and trying to bowl his varieties. And the other good thing about this that you brought up, Ashwin, the Pakistan spinner that was playing in the last Test match, the mystery spinners, and all mystery spinners out there don't do that well out Test cricket, because they don't really have a stop ball, which is their strength, where they can control the batsman. But Ashwin, he's got a stop ball where he can control the batsman. Just wear the batsman down, and then throw in his variations. So if you're a mystery spinner out there and you want to play Test cricket, you've got to have that stop ball where you can control the batsman. It's all right having all the variations when you're playing white format cricket, because you've got more protection in the field. But when you've got to build pressure up, you've got to have batsmen around the bat to try and create those wicket-taking opportunities in the Test arena. You've got to have a stock ball where you can just put it on the money, put it on that spot, ball after ball. So that's a good question, Aditya. I love it. Love it. Tasha Bar, how are you going? Hello, Hoggy. India, Australia, first Test match. My playing for India. Jaswal, Rohit, Gill, Kohli, Rahul, Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin, Kuldeep, Bumrah, Shami, Siraj. Ooh. You know how I'd go about this? I would actually go Jadeja, Ashwin, and keep Kuldeep out of it, because you've got Jadeja, who's probably a better bowler with the newer conditions on the pitch, and you've got Ashwin, who's better with the on the second innings. I've just got someone leaving out of the office just there now, so that's why I'll play those two now. And my Australian 11, I'll bring in this young Constant as the opener with Khawaja, because he's a 19-year-old, and I just think while you've got Khawaja, Labuschagne and Smith with their experience over the next couple of years, why would you not bring a 19-year-old in to bat around that experience? I think it's the best thing that can happen for Australian cricket moving forward. Then all of a sudden you've got a youngster who's got a long career ahead of him, all of a sudden having 2 or 3 years under his belt around those experienced players. So that's how I'd go with my 11. Sorry to Bancroft and Marcus Harris, 2 players that I've grown up with here in West Australia. But I think the time's gone too far ahead for them to play here now. I think you've got to go for the youngster, especially when he's made 200s in a row in Shield cricket. Then you've got Head. and then you've got Mitchell Marsh coming out 6. But if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl, they might think about going with a guy called Bo Webster from Tasmania, an all-rounder who batted the house down last year and can also bowl some medium paces as well as spin. So he's giving you a few options there. So he's going to throw his head into the mix. And then basically you've got Carey, the keeper, and the 3 quicks and Nathan Lyon. So the guys that I'd be looking at there would be Bo Webster for Mitchell Marsh, maybe, if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl overs. And I'll go for the youngster opening the batting, Constance, I think his name is, so from New South Wales. That's my 11. Good question there, Tasher. And look, I called Eepson mate as well, and I didn't even put him in the Indian 11. With Elise Healy injured, should Phoebe Litchfield open and with Beth Moody, or push Grace Harris down the order? No, Anapum, I think keep Grace Harris out the top of the order. I love Grace Harris. I think she's a good addition to the team, and I can't believe that she's actually not in the starting 11. She's got a lot of humour. She's got all-round ability. And I just think you leave Litchfield down that lower order. But I like the way that you're thinking there. I'm loving that you're watching the women's game as well, because it's starting to grow and it's becoming a good spectacle. And what a game it was between India and Australia there last night or the other night. 14 off 6 balls needed, and the captain from India, Kua, could not get on strike. She could only manage 3 singles in that last over. Yeah, when you're in those big moments and you've got your main batter out there, you've got to find boundaries in those last overs. And I think that's one thing with the women's game, just being able to power away with 15 off the last over. That should be an easy get. So that's something that India could look forward to moving forward. But India very unlucky to be kicked out of this particular T20 World Cup. But Indian fans out there, don't be dismayed, because the way they played, they are not far off to being a dominant force on the international stage. So I'm really looking forward to their progress. Good question there, Anupam. Any more questions there, AK? Here we go. Who we got this? Sarat Chandra, how are you going? Hog sir, if you bring pure opener, will it not have more burden on Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood due to Marsh bowling lessened? If you bring in 2 newcomers, will that be 2 big gambles in a big series like this? It'll be a huge gamble in a big series like this, yes. Absolutely huge gamble. The only other option that you've got, if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl and you want to bring that all-rounder in on either Bo Webster or Aaron Hardy. Aaron Hardy's another all-rounder as well here from WA. He bowls some very good medium pace. He's made some big contributions for West Australia when they're under pressure in the lower order, so they'll be looking at him. But you would think about bringing Travis Head up to open in this particular series, and then have Bo Webster or Aaron Hardy coming in as another option as an all-rounder in that middle order. But again, you're making too many changes, so you've got to be careful with that. So there are a couple of options there for Australia, but I'd rather have the youngster opening the batting. And if Mitch Marsh isn't able to bowl, well, take the risk in bringing either Bo Webster or Aaron Hardy in. I just think they're good enough. They've had enough experience in first-class cricket to be able to adapt to the international stage. Good question. I like the way that you're thinking there too. Sarat Chandra. Austin Dakuna, how you going? Hey, Hoggy. If you were an IPL team owner and you had all the Indian players available to pick in your team, which 3 Indian players would you or would your first picks, ranking 1, 2, 3? Boomerang number 1. Boomerang number 1. I'll probably go Hardik Pandya number 2, and that goes against what I said earlier. And I'd probably go Suryakumar Yadav number 3. So Boomer is definitely number 1. Hardik, Suryakumar 2 and 3. I can't work out the difference there because I like that all-round option of Hardik Pandya. That's a very good question there. So I've got an attacking bowler, I've got an attacking batter, and I've got an all-rounder who can bowl some good medium pace, but also can be a good finisher for me in the lower order. That's why I'd go for those 3. If I was going for a spinner, I would probably go with Axar Patel from the Delhi Capitals, again, because of his left arm off spin and his batting ability. So Axar Patel would be my 4th. He's very unlucky to be 4th. He's just out of that top 3. Good question, Austin. I really like it. Love it. Okay, we've got another question as Pakistan have lost 1 early wicket. Austin Dakuna, Jaswell, Kamindu, Brook, Ratchin. The next gen Fab 4, hoping to join you for a hog out ahead of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Actually, Austin, hopefully we can get you on, and we do have a live. And I think you're quite right in that regard. You've got an Indian, a Pakistani, you've got an Englishman, and you've got a New Zealander there. And all of them look as though they're going to be quality batsmen. I like it. Jaswell or Gill? Jaswell's setting the world alight at the moment, and he's a left-handed batsman, so let's stick with him. Good point there, Austin. Any more questions there, okay? Or are we going to leave it there? Anupam, which new Aussie talent could earn big bucks in this IPL auction? I don't think there are I don't think there's really anyone that can earn big bucks in this this IPL auction, really, that we haven't seen before. Fraser McGurk is going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of teams will see what he's done last year, and the hype around Fraser McGurk. If the Delhi Capitals don't keep him, I think there will be a lot of paddles going up in the air trying to secure his services. If I was the Delhi Capitals, I'd be trying to secure him before that auction, and hope that I could get Tristan Stubbs a little cheaper in the auction, because I think Tristan Stubbs is the more reliable batter, especially what he did last year under tough situations. He made some big runs at crucial times, and I think you really need that middle order batsman who can handle those pressure situations, rather than an aggressive opener who can be a little bit hit and miss, especially when you got the likes of Part to come in at number 3. So for me, Fraser McGurk is the one that could be earning the big bucks. Good question there. Making me think there, Anupam. Love it. Ahmed Shafiq, hey Hog, big fan. Can you please tell how Pakistan cricket team can rebuild and regain their confidence after shocking loss to USA in T20 World Cup, Bangladesh Test loss, and England big win recently? It all comes down to culture, really, and I think the administration as well has to sort themselves out, because we've had changes in that administration, left, right, and centre. There's no consistency there. So you've got to have people holding office for a long period of time. And then when it comes to the playing front, you've got your coaches there. You've got selectors there. We can go to the selectors first before we go to the coaches. Selectors, there's too many selectors there. You only need maybe 2, no more than 3 selectors to have a bit of discussion, and then they relay it to the coach and captain, and the coach and captain have the final decision on the 11 after discussing it with the selectors, because those 2 particular people, the coach and captain, are the ones with their heads on the chopping block. So for me, it's about creating a system where there's consistency, there's stop the chopping and changing. There's a lot of politics in Pakistan cricket. You can see it from outside. That's got to change, and the quicker that they can get on top of the politics off the field, the quicker they can start looking out what they have to do to make sure they prepare the next generation of players to be ready for international cricket, because they've got some good squads there. They've got some good players there. I just think there's too much going on off field that's actually preventing the players from keeping their heads clear when they're out in the middle. And I think there's too much pressure from the administration on the particular players to go out there and perform. The players play the game. Let them play their natural games and let them play to their best of their ability. Don't put the extra pressure of the politics off field on the players as well. And I think that's what's happened with Babar Azam. Babar Azam was the captain, and I just think he was getting way too much advice from too many people off field. And that's what, if you want to be a successful player, you've got to have your mentors. And sometimes those mentors have not played international cricket. Those mentors can be anyone. They actually know you as a person. And when you've got people who know you as a person around and knows what goes on between your ears in that mind of yours, all of a sudden you play better cricket out in the middle. And I'll go back to John Buchanan. I know there's a lot of talk about John Buchanan, mixed messages with him, but he was one of the best team managers or coaches going around because he understood the players. He knew what made the players tick. He was more in the mindset of things rather than what they actually did out in the middle, because all the players had the talent. It was just a matter of making sure their mind's in the right space so that they could go out there and show the world that talent and execute to the best of their ability with the clearest mind possible. Because you haven't got a clearest mind. If you don't have a clear mind, there's no way that you can perform out in the middle on a consistent basis. And I think that's where Babar and a few other players have fallen short. Just too much rubbish off the field. Would you agree with that, Ahmed? I'd like to see what your reply is on the comments afterwards. Okay, Anna, how are you going? GM Chinaman, Hoggy, who will open in the Border Gavaskar Trophy for Aussies, and who will replace Cameron Green? I think Travis Steve Smith's going to go back down to number 4. So the young New South Wales opener, I'm actually going to get his proper name up there because Constant. He will definitely open for me. I think he'll go ahead of Bancroft and Harris, simply because he's young and he's able to bat around that experience of Khawaja, Labuschagne and Smith. And I think Bo Webster will be ahead. Will be one of the players that they look to fill in for Cameron Green if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl, and he'll be ahead of Aaron Hardy. So if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl, they'll look out bringing Bo Webster in because he can bowl some medium pace and some right arm off spin as well. So it gives you that variety. Good question, Anna. Next question, please. Okay. Vince, what do you think about New Zealand batting lineup? I don't think they will cross 300 against the world-class Indian bowling lineup. I think their captain's Latham is going to be crucial and Williamson's going to be crucial. I think they will get over 300 a couple of times this series if they bat first. But when it comes to the spin department and when spin takes full toll on these Indian wickets, when you're looking at the latter parts of day 2, 3, 4 and 5, New Zealand will struggle to get 300. So they will rely heavily on the 2 experienced players there. Mitchell, if he uses his height well, sweeps the spinners a lot. He might be able to put them off the line of length and change things up for the other batsmen around him. So he's going to have to play a few risks there to try and upset the Indian spinners. But other than that, I don't think New Zealand have too many options with the bat to counteract the quality of spin of India. So, yeah, I probably agree with you there, Virat. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. Any more questions there, AK? Looks as though there's... Oh, we've got one more. Austin Dakuna. Which batter would you pick in your test team at their peak? Kohli, Smith, Root, or Williamson? That's a tough question. Absolutely tough question. Actually, I'm going to go with Joe Root. For the simple reason is that he's carried England through some tough periods, and he's probably had a tougher run than the other players. Williamson, to an extent, probably on the same boat as Root, but Smith and Kohli have had better quality batsmen around them to be able to take most of the load, whereas Joe Root has probably taken most of the load throughout his career, batting in that middle order, especially during the period where he's captain. So I'd go for Joe Root. Yeah, good question there, Austin Dakuna. Gee, I'm looking after the English tonight, aren't I? Sarak Chandra, how are you going again? Thanks, Hoggy sir. I ask because normally Aussies never bring in youngsters that soon. They grind them out and send them in. But with Sam being 5-match old, will he come in? Yeah, I think Sam will come in. I just think there's a lot of hype about him. He made 200s in a first-class innings. It was high quality, no chances given. He just looked in full control, mature batter. And yes, in the past, we have not brought youngsters in. Though when you look at it, Michael Clark came in. If there's a certain talent there, well, there are times where Australia do bring in the young talent. And I think Sam, this is the time for him to come in now. He's got a long career ahead of him, good head on his shoulders. And I think the time's right. I think Bancroft and Harris have had opportunities at test level. I don't think you want to go back to them so quickly when you've got someone in such form as Sam right now. So I like the way that you question it. I like the thoughts, and you are right. We don't normally go for youngsters, but those times are changing now with the changes landscape in the game and with the test game being played more aggressively. I think you're going to see a lot more youngsters being picked in the Australian 11s moving forward, especially when they are of a high talent like Sam. Good question there, mate. I love it. I love it. Okay. That looks as though it is it for this Hog Out. Thanks very much for joining us. We're really loving your questions. And we're going to be trying to do this every Monday afternoon around about 4 o'clock Perth time. So that's around about 2:30 Indian time or subcontinent time. And we're going to talk all things cricket. And hopefully one or two can join me live on the Hog Out so we can have that live discussion that we had during the T20 World Cup. I really love that. And I like having interactions with you guys. Keep loving your cricket. And let's enjoy the test match between England and Pakistan on a recycled wicket. It's going to be interesting.